it's Julie from Blossom Tree Papercraft. Thank you for joining me. Today's card is very quick, very simple, and I'm using Awesomely Artistic, and I'm going to be using some of the elements from this stamp set to create this card. One colour stamp, all very simple. So for this card you'll need a card base measuring 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. Then our piece for stamping on is 3 3/4 by 5, and then I have a little piece of vellum from the Botanical Gardens, which is measuring 1 inch by 4 inches. And then you'll also need a little piece of scrap of the same colour. I'm using pink Pirouette today, so I'm just going to bring in my stamp pad, and then I'm going to start with our actual card base, and I'm going to keep it folded because obviously I only want to stamp onto the front part. And then using the image, it's a bit like I don't know, it's like little squares, waffles I suppose you could call it, into the ink, and I'm not being particularly neat, and I'm just sort of stamping around the edge, just putting some detail on the outside. Then I'm going to bring in the top part now, and bringing in the gorgeous flower image. Just going to pop some ink onto there, and then I'm going to stamp that just down in the bottom right hand corner. As you can see, I'm doing it all sort of tone on tone, which makes this really simple. I'm then coming in with the gorgeous little dragonfly, sticking that up, and I'm going to position that on this side. And then I'm also going to be using the little splatter dots as well, and I'm just going to start popping these randomly around the top and along the side. There we go. And then just to finish off all the stamping on my scrap piece, I'm going to use the word friend that comes in the set. I'm just going to stamp that onto the scrap card there. I can then close down all of the ink, and then coming back to this part again, I'm going to take my piece of vellum, and just on one end I'm going to put in a little banner end, so cutting through the centre and then from the corners to meet the cut, just to give that banner effect. And then using the snail, just a little bit onto the end, and then I'm going to position that towards the bottom like that. And then I have some of the linen thread. Just going to cut this bit off, and all I'm going to do is wrap this around the card, and it'll also act to hold down the rest of the banner. I'm going to wrap that round about 3 times. Bringing these ends in, and then I'm going to use a dimensional on the back just to hold these ends down, and that will also help me for when I come to stick this down onto the card. And then just using my fingers, I'm just going to fan it on one end so that it's all close together on this end, and then just fanned out on this end here. And then we can start thinking about popping this onto here. So using the dimensionals, popping them in the corner. I'm also going to pop some through the centre, just so that it gives it a good hold onto the card. This is the fun bit now, we're moving the back in. Okay, then bringing in the base again. I'm just going to centralise that into the centre. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my 1 3/4 by 7/8 oval punch. I'm just going to punch out this friend, get it centralised, punch that out, and then from sale-a-bration, at the moment you can get your metallic glitter washi tapes for free with every £45 that you spend. I'm going to be taking the iridescent one, and on my card, just find the end, there it is, I'm going to put out about 3 lengths butted up together onto the card, and you can obviously see the pink pirouette through the iridescence of the washi tape. And then taking the large scallop oval, I'm just going to punch out one of them, so it gives a lovely shimmery effect. I don't know if you can see that lovely shimmery effect that you get from that. And then taking the friend, I'm going to stick that directly on top, and then again with a couple of dimensionals onto the back. Putting back in the card, and then just on this end here I'm going to stick that down, and then just as final added touches, bringing in the wing Castella, and I'm just going to put some lovely shimmer onto the wings of the dragonfly, and then I'm just going to pick up some of the detail. I'm not being particularly neat, but just some of the detail of these flowers down here, just to give it added shimmer when the card is sitting there. You could build it up as much as you'd like, but I'm just popping a little bit on just to add some detail. And then just to finish off completely, bringing in the rhinestones, some of the smaller ones. I'm going to cut 2. And then I'm just going to pop them onto the centre of the dragonfly, and then another 2 on either side. Of the friend. And there you go, there's my card. So it's all tone on tone, one colour, very quick, very simple, very pretty. Anyway, hope you're all well. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye bye.